This is Les from Crossfade, and you're at Popularity.
Can you talk a bit about the Prove You Wrong campaign?
You know, we started off. Eddie, wrote a letter to people, kind of about where the song came from him, lyrically, and had asked the fans to reach out and share some of their stories. And I was quite shocked at the response. There were tons of people writing back very, very heartfelt, personal stories about obstacles that they've overcome in life. Anywhere from people that had cancer, and from to people in the military who were told that they'd never walk again. And everybody kind of says how they've proved people wrong from when they were told they had 6 months to live or they'd never do this, and stuck to it. And that's anywhere in between. Those are the type of responses we've gotten. They've actually been really amazing to read, and very cool just to see people opening up like that.
Has seeing those responses kind of also changed the way you look at yourself and what you're capable of?
Oddly enough, for some reason, every single song on this record lately seems to have taken on a new meaning for me. So, without a doubt, that song I think has a very powerful thing that I myself can obviously identify with as well.
Is there a song on the album that you feel is pivotal, one that showed you guys the direction that the album should go in?
I'm not really sure. I think each song had something different to say, and there was definitely an overall message. It's kind of the battle of good versus evil, and trying to have some light at the end of the tunnel. It's a very dark record. Obviously, it talks about some dark issues and some demons we've all been through, and but at the end, it tries to have that positive message of saying, not exactly sure what it says. I think it says something different to everybody else, but either way, I'm not sure if there's one exact song that necessarily says that, but for me, maybe make me a believer, having something to believe in life and holding on to that.
When you went back to listen to the songs on the album, did any of them surprise you in either a good or a bad way?
Oh, we spent so much time creating this thing. It's kind of what I think every song was what we wanted to be. Really, I'm not sure that anything perfect exists in life. I would obviously like to hear the songs in their most perfect state, but I think they pretty much they are where we made them, and things sound that way for a reason. So.
Would you say that there's a certain sound or type of lyric or even an instrument that just wouldn't be a Crossfade sound without it?
Well, it definitely wouldn't sound like a Crossfade song without a loud electric guitar.
Were you guys ever unsure of the direction that you wanted to take the album in, or is that something where you just kind of let the pieces fall where they may?
No, I definitely went at it myself with we're going to play, we're going to write whatever the hell we want, and every song was our new favorite song after the first song we did was We All Bleed, and loved that song, and then finished Killing Me Inside and loved that, and we did Prove You Wrong was the third song written, and obviously that was taking a slightly different turn than Crossfade has sounded like in the past, but at the time we had no label, we had no deadline, and pretty much wrote exactly what we wanted to do, and it's just I think the album just turned out the way it did from writing what was in our hearts and what we were feeling musically at the time, and not necessarily shooting for the way we need to sound in the view of others' eyes. So.
How do you feel that you've grown as an artist throughout the album process?
Um, hmm. I guess after purging your soul for that long, writing something, it's a very personal record.
Was there a song on the album that was the hardest to create and one that just came out the easiest?
I say the hardest song for me to listen to on the record is definitely We All Believe, just because it's such a personal song for me lyrically. But hardest to create was without a doubt Make Me a Believer, just because it's 10 minutes long, and I think from the beginning of the writing of this record to the last song was finished, that song was always in the works, and just putting it together and the state that it's in now just took a lot of time and I took a lot of breaks in between just to kind of let it breathe and figure out where the song wanted to go and whatnot. But I would say that's probably the toughest one to create. We All Believe, toughest one to listen to.
Was there one that just came to you guys without too much trouble?
There's variations on that. I think You Should Know was, lyrically, the melody and the chorus is something that just pops in my head randomly, not even thinking. But writing the verse lyrics took a long time and a lot of refining. And then, there's other songs that I think came together a lot easier lyrically, like something like Dead Memories. I think for Eddie was kind of something where I think he knew what he wanted to say at the time, and we felt it was a great opening track for the whole message of the record. Kind of screw the past and look for, hold on to what you got in front of you and what's to come and whatnot. So.
Are there any specific expectations that you have for yourself when you're creating music?
I don't know. I mean, I can't write anything that doesn't touch my soul and doesn't feel, like it comes out naturally. So I guess my whole expectation is to not really think and do what comes from your heart.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe your attraction to music?
No, not really. I mean, I like the way it sounds.
What's the last thing that you say to yourself before a show?
Fuck. No, I'm kidding. Last thing I say to myself before a show is, where's my cocktail?
Do you have any final thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with the Readers of Popularity?
I think this is a very deep record and has a lot of layers on it, and it's one that, to me, had I not been a part of its creation, that I think would take more than one listen to really get. So, for anybody out there who's heard a portion of it or whatnot, definitely to give it several listens and let it soak in, because it gets better the more you hear it.